Welcome to my story time by mybooksummary.com. Get ready for quick wisdom of countless stories and explore. Jack and the Beanstalk by Joseph Jacobs. Once upon a time, in a little cottage at the edge of a small village, lived a poor widow and her only son, Jack. Now, Jack was a bright-eyed boy, full of energy, but let's be honest, not the sharpest tool in the shed. He was the kind of lad who could spend an entire day chasing butterflies and forget to eat. His mother loved him dearly, but often sighed when she saw the empty pantry and their scrawny cow, Milky White, who had long since stopped giving milk. One evening, after scraping together the last bits of their food, Jack's mother sat him down with a heavy heart. "Jack, we have nothing left. The only thing we can do is sell Milky White," she said, patting the old cow's side. "Take her to the market tomorrow and get a good price, or we won't last another week." Jack nodded, determined. "Don't worry, Mother. I'll get a great deal." The next morning, with Milky White's rope in hand, Jack set off, whistling a cheerful tune. But as fate would have it, he didn't even reach the market before an odd-looking old man appeared on the path. The man had a long white beard, twinkling eyes, and a grin that made him look both wise and mischievous. "Good morning, young man," said the old fellow. "That's a fine cow you have there. Are you selling her?" Jack, eager to prove himself, puffed out his chest. "Yes, sir. I need a good price for her." The old man stroked his beard. "I'll give you something better than money, magic beans." Jack's eyes widened. "Magic?" "Indeed," the man whispered. "Plant them tonight, and by morning, you'll have riches beyond your dreams." Jack, whose love for adventure far outweighed his understanding of business, eagerly accepted the deal. With a handshake, the cow was gone, and Jack rushed home, clutching his precious beans. The beanstalk to the heavens. Jack burst into the cottage, beaming. "Mother, look at these magic beans." His mother turned from the fire, expecting a bag of coins. When she saw the handful of beans, her face went from hopeful to horrified. "Jack, please tell me you didn't." Jack grinned. "They're magic," the man said. But before he could finish, his mother let out a wail, tossed the beans out the window, and sank into a chair. "Magic beans? Jack, we have nothing to eat. How could you be so foolish?" Jack's heart sank. Maybe he had been tricked. That night, he went to bed hungry, listening to his mother's quiet sniffles. But as dawn broke, something astonishing happened. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting long shadows, and Jack rubbed his eyes. Outside, where his mother had tossed the beans, a massive beanstalk now twisted and stretched into the clouds. Jack gasped. Magic! It really worked. Without hesitation, because thinking things through wasn't exactly his strong suit, Jack scrambled out of bed, rushed outside, and grabbed onto the beanstalk. Hand over hand, he climbed higher and higher, past the birds, past the wind, past the very sky itself. Finally, after what felt like hours, he reached the top and found himself in a strange new land. Rolling green hills stretched before him, and in the distance stood a massive castle, towering and foreboding. Curiosity got the better of him, and Jack hurried toward it. As he reached the great wooden doors, they creaked open, and a woman, a giantess, peered down at him. "What do you want, little boy?" she asked, her voice booming but not unkind. Jack hesitated, but his stomach growled. I was hoping for something to eat." The giantess sighed. "My husband, the giant, eats little boys for breakfast. But, oh, you poor thing, come in quickly before he returns." The giant's wealth. Jack slipped inside, marveling at the enormous kitchen. He barely had time to take in the sights before the ground trembled, the walls shook, and a deafening voice echoed. "Fee fi fo fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead. I'll grind his bones to make my bread." Jack's knees nearly gave out, but the giantess shoved him into the oven and whispered, "Stay quiet." A colossal giant stomped into the kitchen. He had a face like a thundercloud and hands like boulders. Sniffing the air, he frowned. "Wife, I smell boy." "Oh, nonsense," the giantess huffed, handing him a plate of food. "You're always smelling things. Eat your breakfast." Grumbling, the giant plopped down at the table, his chair creaking under his weight. As Jack peeked through the oven's crack, he saw something incredible. The giant pulled out a sack of gold coins and started counting them. Jack's heart raced. If he could grab those coins, his mother would never go hungry again. When the giant dozed off after his meal, Jack crept out, grabbed a handful of coins, and ran for his life. He scrambled down the beanstalk so fast he nearly fell, landing breathless at his mother's feet. "Mother, look!" He spilled the gold into her hands. His mother was too stunned to scold him. They had enough money to live comfortably for a while, but Jack's curiosity wasn't satisfied. Jack's return and the harp of gold. A few days later, Jack couldn't help himself. He had to go back. So, up the beanstalk he climbed again. This time, when the giant returned, Jack hid in a cupboard. Fee-fi-fo-fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Once again, the giantess convinced him he was imagining things. This time, Jack watched as the giant pulled out a golden hen. "Lay," the giant commanded, and to Jack's amazement, the hen laid a golden egg. Jack's eyes nearly popped out of his head. This was even better than gold coins. When the giant fell asleep, Jack snuck out, grabbed the hen, and bolted. Back home, the hen laid golden eggs on command, and Jack and his mother were no longer poor. But once again, Jack couldn't resist another adventure. The singing harp and the final escape. On his third trip up the beanstalk, Jack hid under the table. "Fee-fi-fo-fum," the giant bellowed, but his wife, as always, calmed him down. This time, the giant took out a magical harp that played beautiful music all on its own. Jack, mesmerized, knew he had to have it. As the giant snored, Jack crept forward and seized the harp. But the moment he touched it, the harp let out a wailing cry. "Master! Master! Help!" The giant woke with a start, roaring with rage. Jack ran faster than he ever had in his life, the ground shaking behind him as the furious giant chased him. Down the beanstalk he scrambled, yelling, "Mother, get the axe!" His mother, bewildered, grabbed an axe. Just as the giant's enormous boots hit the beanstalk, Jack swung the axe with all his might. Crack! The beanstalk snapped, and the giant plummeted to the ground with an earth-shattering crash. Jack and his mother stared at the giant's lifeless form, panting. Then, Jack held up the harp triumphantly. That was close. Final thoughts, the lessons of Jack's adventure. Jack's story isn't just about a reckless boy who climbs a giant plant. It's about bravery, wit, and, let's be honest, a little bit of luck. He started off foolish but learned to trust his instincts, take risks, and outsmart an opponent far bigger than himself. Was it stealing? Well, maybe. But the giant did eat people, so let's call it justice. In the end, Jack and his mother never went hungry again, and the magic harp played beautiful melodies as they lived happily ever after. And the moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of a handful of beans. Stay tuned for more enlightening content. Head over to www.mybooksummary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share the magic with friends, and let's grow together through the power of books and interesting stories.